I remember the wallpaper first. Faded mustard flowers peeling at the edges, curling like burnt paper. The stench of mildew, the thin mattress pressing springs into my back. Morocco. A dingy motel on the edge of nowhere. That's where he left me. They left me. My husband and the 3 friends who followed him like shadows. The last words before the door slammed still echo. Survive this, genius. Laughter trailing off down the hallway. When I reached for my phone, it was gone. My wallet, emptied. Every card, every account drained. I was a ghost before I'd even realized it. He used to look at me like I was the answer to a question only he could ask. At 23, I mistook hunger for devotion. He had charm, reckless, magnetic. His friends orbited him, boys who never grew into men, intoxicated by his arrogance. I should have seen it sooner. The way his eyes lingered too long on my signature when we signed joint accounts. The laughter that always stopped when I entered a room. The trips with the guys that stretched a day too long, returning with new clothes, new watches. But love blinds like nothing else. I believed his apologies. I believed us. Until Morocco. It wasn't despair that settled over me in that motel. It was clarity. I was stripped clean. No cards, no cash, no name that mattered. And yet, there was a strange freedom in that. I left the motel at dawn, traded the earrings he forgot to steal for a bus ride, learned to eat slow, make 10 dirhams last a day. Every night, I wrote his name in my mind, carving it deeper, until it stopped meaning husband and started meaning target. 6 months. That's how long it took to vanish. I worked kitchens, scrubbed rooms, counted tips in currencies I barely understood. Then one morning, I walked into a bank in Tangier with a forged passport and a new name. I opened an account with the first honest money I'd earned. The first step back into existence. By the time I reached Dubai, I was no longer his wife. I was no longer anyone's victim. They spotted me by accident. I was sipping Turkish coffee on the terrace of a high-rise, sunlight cutting across the skyline. I felt the stare before I saw them. 4 of them. Him at the center, exactly where he always placed himself. Shock flickered across his face, then something uglier, fear. He pulled out his phone. Later, I learned there were 121 calls, not one answered. That was the first move in my game. Silence. I didn't chase revenge with rage. Rage is loud, sloppy. I chose precision. Step 1, I hired a forensic accountant. Every trail he thought was buried, every transfer, every offshore indulgence was unearthed. I let the numbers tell his sins. Step 2, I built trust with his friends, 1 drink at a time. A whisper here, a secret there. Men like them crack easily when flattered, when offered attention sharper than loyalty. Within weeks, I knew their fractures, the debts, the affairs, the weaknesses. Step 3, I turned those fractures into weapons. Anonymous tips to wives. A creditor pushed at just the right time. A contract that collapsed because an email accidentally leaked. I never raised my voice. I never showed my hand. He started calling more, begging, then threatening, then begging again. Each voicemail a little more desperate. I saved every single one. The confrontation came in the only place it could. Public, controlled, inescapable. I chose a rooftop bar in Dubai. I invited him with a message from one of his own friends, baited with promises of money he couldn't resist. He arrived in a pressed suit, but his eyes gave him away, hollow, frantic. When he saw me, his knees nearly buckled. "You're alive," he muttered, as if I were a ghost. "I am," I said, "and you're finished." He laughed, weak, brittle. "You think you can touch me?" I slid the folder across the table. Bank statements, leaked contracts, a timeline of thefts and betrayals too perfect to be coincidence. Behind him, two of his friends watched from a distance, faces pale. They knew. They finally knew. "You destroyed us," he whispered. "No," I corrected. "You did. I just held up the mirror." Security arrived minutes later, summoned by a call I'd placed before he even sat down. The charges weren't mine to make. They were already waiting in the system, delivered to the right authorities by the accountant. As they led him away, he turned back, eyes wild. "How?" I leaned in close enough that only he could hear. "You told me to survive. I did more than that. I erased you." That night I stood on the balcony, city lights stretching out like veins of fire. Their calls still came, those friends who once mocked me. Some begged, some cursed. I let them all ring into silence. For the first time, I felt weightless. Not because I had won, but because I had shed him completely.